Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the 10-game slate for NBA tonight, starting at 7:30. So let's get started. As always, appreciate if you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the website. Follow on Twitter for updates. Check out Prize Picks. All that info is in the description. About to be a very busy day, not only for NBA, but currently getting hit with a lot of snow in PA. So gonna spend a lot of the day shoveling that, and hopefully, the power lines, everything stays good. But let's get into it. Looking back at yesterday's four-game slate, did well on Fanduel, missed on Draftkings. On Fanduel, did well mainly because I had Kyle Lowry instead of Van Fleet because he was so cheap. On Draftkings, I had Van Fleet instead of Lowry because they were pretty closely priced, but definitely needed Lowry instead of Van Fleet, who was a pretty big letdown yesterday. And then a lot of change, even though it was only four games, a lot of news came late with Embiid sitting, and then Harden kind of got that news in the afternoon. Today we have 10 games. We'll probably get a bunch of news as well. So let's start off here at point guard. You have Luka Doncic at 10.8, Lillard at 10.7. So once again, you're gonna pick between the two guys above $10,000. Luka, even last game without Porzingis, wasn't great. Lillard was a lot better. He had 2 threes in the last 7 seconds to win it for the Blazers. He's been doing great things for them since McCollum's been out, taking 20 plus shots, being super aggressive, getting you a good chance to get you double doubles as well. It's a tough spot against Milwaukee in terms of not in terms of scoring or pace because they play super fast and they give up a lot of points, but in terms of maybe this game gets a little bit out of hand. But the Bucks did end up losing this last game to the Hornets, so I'm not sure. Don't really like to project blowouts. If you want to play Lillard, I think he looks great, especially with Porzingis should be back after he took the day off last game. I would play Lillard over Doncic tonight. LeBron, once again, he's listed questionable, but he's always ended up playing. Trae Young is probable. I'm not interested really in Trae Young against the Lakers defense. They will make life tough for Young, so I think I will pass on that. I like De'Aaron Fox a ton at 8,300. It's a really good spot against the Pelicans. We saw what he did last time and had his best game of his probably career last time out against the Pelicans. He dropped 78 DraftKings points. He's been pretty consistent, getting you in the 40s fantasy points. Occasionally drops below that, occasionally has duds, but he's been pretty consistent recently. Super aggressive from the floor and shooting, getting assists, can rebound a bit, and he's decent with the steals as well. So I think he looks great against the Pelicans. It should be a close game, and I'm expecting it to be a pretty fast-paced, higher scoring game. Next up, at point guard, besides De'Aaron Fox, I think Ja Morant looks great at 7,600. You have SGA against Houston. That game also should be pretty close. With OKC's actually been surprisingly decent this season. SGA's been really good for them in terms of just being a reliable scoring option and being consistent on a nightly basis. He's been pretty solid in getting you good fantasy points. Price tag is pretty fair at 8,100, so he's another guy that can get you 50 plus points. He maybe get you like 50, 55 DraftKings points. Chris Paul looks solid as well. I've been playing Chris Paul a ton since Devin Booker's been out, and he's been really rewarding. Only had one bad game since Booker's been out. If Booker's out again, I think I'll definitely try to get to Chris Paul. Probably play him over SGA if we have no Booker. But if Booker is back, then I will go back to not having either one. You have John Wall still continues to be nicely priced at 6,900. His minutes still haven't really crept into the high 30s. Been kind of in the high 20s. Got one game where he got to 30 minutes. But it's been quite a bit since he missed some decent time with a couple games with knee soreness. So I think he should go back to playing full minutes pretty soon. Definitely nice price tag on John Wall. Russell's really cheap. Since they are starting Anthony Edwards, though, it's tough to kind of trust Russell. Cash makes for a nice tournament play at 7,000 because when they have Edwards out there and Malik Beasley and Russell, all three guys take a ton of shots. Rozier is questionable. If he misses, then you could see LaMelo Ball jump into the starting lineup, and that would be a nice option. I'll probably take a shot on him at 65, even though it's somewhat expensive. But if he's starting, then you would feel safe about him playing over 30 minutes. Then below $6,000, you have Lonzo Ball, who's been playing pretty solid. 5,500, he's been fine. for them. Had one big game and then a decent game with 30 Draftkings points last time out. He's fine. Good spot against Sacramento. Sacramento's really bad defensively. You have Halliburton at 5,200, another guy that's been very good for the Kings. He does a little bit of everything, so his fantasy game is pretty safe in getting you assists, rebounds, scoring at a decent clip, and playing good minutes for them. So I like him as a potential cheap option that you can go to at point guard or shooting guard. Like Quickly is like a tournament option. I like Halliburton more, but Quickly gives you some upside. But I think I like Halliburton more, and I like Lonzo a little bit more. Then below 5,000, you have Derrick Rose potentially at 4,700 as a GPP option. We have Theo Maledon at 4,300 without George Hill again. He ended up shooting 6 of 6 from 3, so did get it done in terms of value. The price tag went up by $900, and he had a really, really tough to repeat shooting game, 8 of 9 and 6 of 6. I think he still looks decent, but he's not as much of a great value as he was last game. And Alfred Payne is down to 4,400, but his minutes have kind of come down with the emergence of Quickly and with Burks being back. And that's pretty much it for the point guard position. Satoransky is really cheap at 33. Maybe if Otto Porter misses, we can take a shot with him. But there are a couple of other guys that I do like on the Chicago side. So point guard, I like a couple guys above 7,000. At shooting guard, Levine, another good shooting game from him, 9 of 12. Just a little bit more aggressive, and just because he was making a ton of shots. If he took like 20 shots, he probably would have broke the slate last time out. Ended up losing a heartbreaker with that Damian Lillard 3. Price tag is 9,000. The Knicks have actually been the best defensive team in basketball this season, and they don't play fast. So I think he looks fine. I do like a couple of other guys that are cheaper, though. Booker's questionable. Even if he's in, I'm not going to play him at 83. I'd rather play John Wall than Oladipo at $1,000, like $1,100 discount. We have some decent cheap options here. Anthony Edwards, 56, could be a decent option. Price tag went up a little bit. He was like 5,300, I think, last game, but his minutes have been a lot higher. They haven't updated from last night, but he's been playing better and actually shooting the ball well, so he could be a decent option against the Cavs. We have Bledsoe, looks all right. I like Lonzo a lot more. Then you have Halliburton at 5,200, who I think looks to be a decent value option. And then the Hawks are going to be missing DeAndre Hunter, who was like their third best scoring option and actually could sometimes be their second best besides Trae Young. So it's a tough spot, but you'll see like Cam Reddish jump into the starting lineup and play in the 30s of minutes. He's not super consistent, and the matchup is really tough, so I'm not that thrilled with it. You have Will Barton, who I do like, mainly because they were starting Michael Porter for a bit, and then they went back to starting Will Barton. And that's just going to help Will Barton. His minutes went from playing like 26, 21 to playing 30 and 37. And Gary Harris also left the game last night with an injury, so probably won't play on a back-to-back at least. Who knows? He might even miss some more time, which means Barton's minutes are going to be even more secure at 48. He looks like a pretty good option. Burks looks fine at 47. Don't know why Kevin Porter is that expensive. Hasn't even played a game this season. But yeah, you have Burks looks all right. Maledon looks fine, and that's mainly it. Unless we get some players out, maybe if Otto Porter misses, we can look to Denzel Valentine at 3,400. But Halliburton looks to be the guy that I want at 52. Moving on to small forward, we have a few pieces that look decent. You have Jeremy Grant, revenge spot, going back to Denver. He's definitely slowed down recently. Price tag has also taken a hit. Only thing I would play him is for the revenge spot. There are some other guys that look fine, like Butler at 84. After missing almost like 3 weeks, he played 34 minutes, wasn't limited at all. Looked great out there against Sacramento. He's a guy that gives you a lot of upside. I'm a little bit hesitant to play him at 84. Price tag did take a big jump. Maybe if Dragic misses again, I think he'd be a better play, or if there's no Tyler Hero again, or if Tyler Hero has to quarantine, saw something about that. on Fantasy Labs. But other guys that look good are, I hate to say it, but DeRozan, after the dud of all duds, only had 7 Draftkings points in 25 minutes. Back to playing Memphis, pretty tale of 2 games. First game he had like 56 Draftkings points against them. Last time out he had 7. So hopefully he has a much better game. Price tag is still really nice on him, so I don't mind going back to DeRozan. We have Trent is getting up there in price, so I'm not interested really at 57. Not that interested in Herter at 59. And then the Sun guys, we'll have to wait and see if Booker is back. Gallo is already priced up at 5,000, so that's interested in a bunch of those plays. We have Will Barton at a good clip at 4,800. And then you have like maybe you can take a shot on Diallo, maybe Patrick Williams if there's no Otto Porter. Richardson's super cheap, but he just hasn't been doing a lot of good things for Dallas so far. And that's mainly it. So guy I'll play is going to be Will Barton, who is checking in at only 4,800. It's a really good spot against Detroit in terms of hopefully it doesn't turn into a blowout, but without Gary Harris most likely, and the fact that he's back to starting, I think he looked a little bit underpriced. At power forward, I have a few guys that I'm kind of considering. You have a decent price tag on Gordon Hayward. I like DeRozan a bit at 7,000. We have the Grizzlies still without Valanciunas today, so you can definitely look to Clark. I do like $4,800 for Tillman a little bit. That game also got out of hand, so we didn't see the starters have to play much in the fourth. So he played only 21 minutes, had 4 fouls. He was playing 28-29 in the games before that. So probably lost a rotation in the fourth. Could have easily hit you like 30 DraftKings points if he got those extra 7-8 minutes. So definitely think Tillman is a decent option. And then we have Thaddeus Young, who's 5,700. He's actually been playing really good basketball. Almost had a triple-double in 2 straight games. I think he looks to be a really good option here. Price tag is moving up, so people might be hesitant. Actually did play him against Portland last time. It worked out well. It's against a pretty big Knicks team. With Randall and Mitchell Robinson. Fits their lineup pretty nicely still without Wendell Carter, who has already been ruled out for this game and is going to miss a bunch of time. So without Wendell Carter, and then Gafford hasn't been playing well, and he didn't even start the second half of last game. So if they change up their lineup and maybe they start Thaddeus Young here, or maybe they start some other guy at center instead of Gafford, could see Young's have even more upside. But I think I like the way that they're using him, coming off the bench, getting like the ball in his hands, making plays with assists, good rebounder, and can score a little bit too. So I think he looks to be a good option. At center, you have plenty of options here. You have Drummond against Minnesota. Went off last night. His minutes still can be all over the place with Jared Allen backing him up. It's a really good spot. If they're still without Towns, they have nobody that can slow down Drummond. Like Reed, I don't think he played last night, but good luck with Reed / Ed Davis slowing down Drummond. Then we have some decent, cheaper options with Clark at 62. Al Horford has been playing a lot better since he's been back the last 2 games. Only needed 23 minutes, 24 minutes to put up 38 DraftKings points last game against Brooklyn. They also did really well against the Suns. Now it's against Houston, and they have been all right defensively, but we've also seen them give up some big games to centers just because Christian Wood still isn't a polished defender, so I don't mind going back to Horford at a pretty nice price tag. Plays around 30 minutes, so can get you good value at that price tag. Then you have Aldridge, still continues to be super cheap. He's 5,500. He's been just up and down all season, to say the least. Not super consistent. The price tag is just really nice to him. It's really nice right now for him. We'll probably end up moving up by the time the season is over. Zeller's been playing really good since he's been back. Price tag has quickly moved up from 34 up to 53. Kind of where you expect him to be. Not an easy spot against Bam Adebayo and the Heat defense. He looks fine, but I don't I don't feel great about him like I did the last games when he was a lot cheaper. Steven Adams is questionable. If he is out, then we can look at Jackson Hayes at 4,000 if he starts in his place. Have Tillman at 48. So, a lot of good options at center. Moving back to guard, I like SGA against Houston. Expect this game to be pretty high scoring. Houston has been giving up some points recently. SGA's been the best player on the Thunder all season. Been really consistent. Price tag is pretty nice in a really good spot. And I think he'll probably end up dropping in the 40s or 50s tonight. And then the last piece is going to be Ja Morant, who's only 7,600. Only had to play 27 minutes last game, or 28 minutes. Didn't have to play much in the fourth. He was good with another double-double. He lost like 5 or 6 minutes. Could have hit you 6x if he did. He was fine. 71, dropping 38, almost hitting you 6x. Price tag went up a little bit, but he's still been absolutely dominant against the Spurs this season. In 2 meetings, averaging 52 after he only put up 37 last game. So that means the first game he had to have like, I don't know, maybe like high 60s or low 70s. Really like Morant at a good price tag. Love the guards today with Fox, SGA, Morant. And then you can kind of fill in with some cheap options with Halliburton, Barton, and Thaddeus Young. So that's it for the DraftKings side. Let's go over to Fanduel. All right, over on Fanduel here, starting off at point guard, you have Luka at 10.7. Then you have Trae Young at 10.4. I'm not interested in Young against the Lakers when you have him sandwiched between Lillard and Luka. Lillard looks fine, and then you have a lot of cheaper point guards with Fox, Ja Morant, and Chris Paul. Paul is dependent on Devin Booker's injury. If Booker misses again, I think he looks great. Not that thrilled with Murray just because I like a couple of other options that are a little bit more expensive. Wall looks all right, but still, if he's not going to get you like 35, 36 minutes, it's tough to kind of have a ceiling at his price tag, even though it gives you a really nice floor. Ball looks good. White looks all right. Ball looks fine. And mainly it. Usually I like to pay up a bit at point guard just because there's a lot of upside plays, usually, and I think Fox is going to be the guy that I start with at 8,200. At shooting guard, I like Levine on FanDuel, same price tag on DraftKings, and it's a little bit easier to get to him. SGA also looks great at 8,300. Then we have nice tags on Russell and DeMar DeRozan. Hield looks okay, but then you have Halliburton as like $1,000 cheaper. Halliburton gives you a little bit more upside in general in terms of like assists and rebounds, but Hield much better just at scoring. Graham would be a nice option if they are without Rozier tonight. And that is mainly it. You could take a shot on Edwards actually at 4,800. Could be a nice cheap option. Edwards, like Edwards more than Burks, but Burks is also in play. And then you have Kevin Huerter at 45. So probably end up paying at least for one of these expensive guys at shooting guard, and it's probably going to be SGA for now. At small forward, you have pretty nice combo of guys to pay up for, and then the mid range. At the top, it's besides LeBron, it's going to be Butler or probably Chris Middleton. Then you have Jeremy Grant and Gordon Hayward, kind of the second tier. Probably go with Hayward, although not thrilled with either one. I think Grant might be like if you want to make the case for the narrative against Denver. And Beasley looks fine, but I think I'd rather go with Edwards, who's only 48, even though it's a different position. But don't want to get probably don't want to get both of them in there. I lean to Edwards. Barnes is all right. Also, he's like super hard to project. Some games he goes out and drops 40. Other games he gets you like teens. Minutes are always consistent with him though, but he is just he's all over the place with his production. And then for value plays, you have Keldon Johnson at 54. Bridges if they're still without Devin Booker. And that's like mainly for the guys in the mid range. And then for value plays, you have Cam Johnson if they're still without Devin Booker. Gallo looks better at a really cheap price tag. And then Will Barton is only 4,000, so he's like the cheap option that I'm considering on the slate. And yeah, like Gay is only 3,900. But Barton looks good, especially if they're going to be without Gary Harris. See if they've ruled him out yet. Probably not, but we'll We'll see. Probably if he ends up missing a couple of games, definitely will benefit Will Barton. At power forward, we have a couple of guys that we can pay up for, like Julius Randle at 8,800. Price tag on him has come down. The production has been pretty steady. Slowed down a little bit. The minutes are not like 40 minutes a game like they were at the start of the season. Now that they got some bodies back, it still looks good in a good spot against Chicago, though. Christian Wood, also another nice option to pay up for. And then the two studs, Giannis and Davis. If you don't have to worry about salary, if you get some more value, then you can pay up for Giannis, who's actually been tearing it up recently. So he's pretty expensive though, 11.6. Davis been a lot less, like hitting his ceiling, a lot less, more sporadically. But on Fanduel, he looks better just because he gets those extra points for blocks and steals, which he does rack up. I probably will, I'd rather get up to Giannis, I think. And now we have, not that interested in Bam Adebayo now that Butler's back, especially at 9,100. So I like Randall. Porzingis is really cheap at 7,000. And then for value plays, you have Aldridge, you have Tillman and Thaddeus Young, both at 5,100. And then for, see if Harden and Gomez, are they going to be back tonight? Won't be that interested right now in his first game back, but maybe if he goes back to being below 4,000, it'd be interesting. And then below 4,000, I'm not really interested in anyone. So I'll probably stick with Thaddeus Young for now. And then moving on to center, you have Jokic at 10.9, followed by Drummond at 88. And then you have like Al Horford at 63. Could be a decent option that we have. And then if Adams is in at 51, he looks good. You have Zeller at 52. And that's mainly it. Unless I don't know if they have Hayes at center or is he power forward? Knowing Fanduel could be. He is center. He's 36. If he's starting, he would be a good option. But for now, I'll go ahead and put in Al Horford. Just the way he's playing recently, we can carry it into tonight still. Good price tag. Playing like 30 minutes a night against Houston. Could be a high-scoring game at home. Feel decent about it. And that's pretty much it for Fanduel. Pretty much it for the video as well. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and best of luck tonight.